Okay, Era B, you are recording, you are live, phone lines are open, you are good to go.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thanks to everybody at LTV that keeps us up and running during this extraordinary time where we have to meet electronically and not in person. My name is Kathleen Cunningham. I'm the chairperson of the Architectural Review Board of the Town of East Hampton, and this is our February 10th meeting of that board in 2022. I'd like to open the meeting with the approval of the minutes from January 27th, 2022. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. It's so carried. Thank you. Okay, our first application is the Montauk Clubhouse in an historic district. It's Suffolk County Tax Map.
Our approval, we did impose
Okay,
the
folks.
condition
Unless you are a board member, you will need to mute your audio. Thank you.
All that stuff, all these bins have been removed.
Thank you. Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-32-6-063, 139 DeForest Road. And Chip, this is yours.
Matt, is there a Randy Correll on the line? It'd be a 212-967 number 5100.
Is that the applicant, Randy Correll?
He's the
Yes.
architect for Robert Stern, yeah.
Okay, is he on the line?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there you
good.
are. Okay, terrific. Great.
Okay. Okay, so this property has been before us for several years under two owners, and it continues to embody the purpose and goals of this board. With the Montauk Association Historic District, the long demolished clubhouse was at the center of 7 shingle-style homes designed by McKim, Mead, and White in the 1880s. The clubhouse burned in the 30s, was replaced by a modest ranch house in the 60s, and is now inching closer and closer to being rebuilt as the clubhouse looked originally at 7,312 square foot house, which is allowed under the stipulation of rebuilding this clubhouse. It would be the original size. In December of last year, we approved the project and asked for color samples for the exterior woodwork, windows, doors, and trim on the clubhouse rebuild, as well as an existing garage and pool house. The color is a dark drab green, Benjamin Moore historic color. It's either 125 or 126. I'll ask Randy to clarify that. The Cushing green or Aaron green. We also asked for dark sky compliant lighting details on the 4 facades of the exterior of the house and the staircases that come down from the porches. It is all the lighting proposed is all recessed into the building or on exterior stairs. It's on posts at the bottom of the stairs. I count 6 light fixtures on the front, 5 on the back. On the back is the driveway side. The front faces the ocean. 3 on the east side and 4 on the west side. I'm going to let Randy go into the lighting in more detail.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Correll, would you like to offer some comments?
Yes, first on the color, it's actually Caldwell green, Benjamin Moore, HC 124.
That's not the color sample I got, Randy. So I got one. Oh, I see. You X'd out 125 and 126, meaning that 124 is the color. Got it. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
Noted.
Good. So on the lighting, basically we're trying to light the steps up to the house into that. And we have 2 post lights, as you see in the drawing on the screen, indicated as number 2. And they're a full cutoff barn style light on a post. And then at the top of the steps on the porch, mounted on the porch post is a small kind of bronzy fixture. It's 2 inches wide by 8 inches tall. As you can see, it's like a little can that just is a downlight, LED downlight. Then if you would go please to the south elevation. Yes. Is there another south elevation showing the lights? I think.
Yes, I have one.
There you go. Thank you. So the number ones are, again, those little sconces mounted on the wall of the porch to give light by the exterior doors per code. And then number 3 is there are 2 step lights on either side of the steps leading up to that porch. And those are mounted in the brick cheek wall of the porch, pointing inward. And that is the lighting scheme. There are 3 lighting types. The step lights, the number 1, the sconces, and then those 2 barn light post lights.
So I was at the site yesterday, and it looks like you've already painted the trim on the garage and the pool house. Can we pull up that photo? Yeah.
Yeah.
So these doors had what, Randy?
Oh, I don't think that's the Caldwell green. I think the owner had done that previously.
Oh, okay, because they were white the last time I was there. That's what we were reacting to, I think, the last time. But okay, so you're on the road to a drab green color.
Yes, shade by shade.
Okay. I think this is a home run for all. Does the other board members have comments?
No, it's very nice.
No objections.
No, I think it looks great. As long as the lighting is compliant and we have the proper, is this a fixture I'm looking at here that's on this south elevation that's on the page there? It looks like a grill. Is
The
that-
recess fixture.
That's the stairwell.
I see. Okay, that's the recess. Got it. Okay. Okay, and as long as that, that completes our record in the file of what is required for the lighting fixtures, then I'm fine with it. Okay, if
Okay.
nobody has any other comments, would you like to make a motion, Chip?
Sure, I make a motion that we accept this proposal as indicated with Benjamin Moore, 124 Caldwell Green being the exterior color woodwork on all buildings on this property, as well as the exterior lighting detailed in the architectural renderings.
Have a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, so carried. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Mr. Krell, and good luck. Looks great.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thanks for keeping, working so hard to keep it in the context, the proper historic context. It's a really important group of buildings out there, and it's very encouraging for us to see that. So thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Okay. All right, then. Next up, we have Valerie Mnuchin, I think that might be. Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-197-7-5, 30 Wainscott Stone Road in Wainscott. And is the applicant on the line? Or
Hello,
participating, Ramon Chavez Martinez?
hello, this is Ramon Chavez Martinez. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ramon. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Martinez. Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you so much. I'm representing Valerie Munchin over 3 Wainscott Stone Road.
Right. Okay.
And
The way we'll do this is I'll hear from our board member first, who's in charge of your application. And she'll
Okay.
give us a summary of the, what's been requested, and then we'll ask you for comment, okay? So we'll let
Thank you.
Esperanza go first. Okay, thank you, Mr. Martinez.
thank you.
Okay, Esperanza, please. Are you there? Did we lose her?
No, I'm here. I was
Oh,
muted.
okay.
Forgive me. Thank you. This application is for a 6-foot clear cedar driveway gate. It is indicated on the survey, handwritten, that it would be located 30 feet from the road, from the pavement. And the total length or the width of the driveway gate would be 15 feet, 4 inches. This driveway faces Wainscott Stone Road, and the majority of Wainscott really has very few driveway gates, but this proposed design is a fairly open one. It's just at 6 feet. We have reviewing the survey, and as I indicated before, it's noted that this was just written by hand on the survey. And while it's a recent survey, we would really, it would, because there are wetlands indicated, and they could fall perhaps quite near to where this driveway gate would be. It is under the advice of the planning department that we would require for this to have the driveway gate indicated by a professional, by the surveyor.
Okay, was there anything else you'd like to mention before I hand the floor to Mr. Martinez?
No, I think I would.
Can we see the gate? Is there a picture of the gate?
I think that was a picture.
No, that's the entryway, and there's
a rendering. We'll have it in a second.
Yes.
Yeah,
that
that
is
is rendering.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
It's
That-
okay.
Okay.
That was just recently installed stockade there, but there is a rendering, yes.
Rendering of the gate, right.
And all that stockade is 4 feet? Or?
Yeah.
We took the drawing for the gate.
Yes, you did. You
Oh,
did.
yeah.
There it is. Yep. Okay, Mr. Martinez, did you want to comment? Did you want to tell the board anything that would help us with your application?
No, I think not everything is there. It's going to be clear cedar, is 15 feet opening. In order when the gate is completely open, it's going to be 14 feet wide. The columns are 11 inches wide. I have to wait for suggestions or what they
Right.
say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. That's what we're here for, is to give you suggestions on how to make this happen. Do any other board members have any other comments?
So is the issue that the survey, that this was hand-drawn or something on the survey?
Yes, that's correct.
And so we don't actually know if it's in fact 30 feet from the street or correctly placed on the survey.
Yeah, I think the feeling is that there are wetlands on this property. There is a wetland setback on this
Right.
property. And if the gate isn't, with the hand-drawn indicator, we need to make sure a surveyor has it properly measured so that the wetlands, it may require a natural resources special permit if it falls within the wetland setback. And there's no way to know that from this hand placement on the map. So Mr. Martinez, do you understand the problem that we're facing?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. Yeah,
Okay.
I did roughly what it is because Shubi's, it's I think like 16 from the road to the edge of the property. But anyway, we need to ask the survey company to
Right, right. And another recommendation I might make to you is to make the gate shorter, not so high. There are very few gates along that road, and the 4-foot gate with, a slightly larger post or something that the board favors compared to the 6-foot post and the nearly 6-foot gate that you're proposing. So that would be something to consider when you go back. The surveyor is a different matter, but the design of the gate, the size of the gate, I think, isn't necessarily in keeping with the community character on that road. And we're trying to keep things smaller, not bigger.
Okay, let me try next time. Okay.
Okay.
I will ask for new surveys and I send you a new drawing and we go from there.
Okay, that's fine. We'll send you a follow-up letter that has these things written down so that you'll be able to discuss them with your client and the surveyor. That'll, if you'll find that helpful, I hope. And if you have any questions, call. Okay.
Just one thing to add regarding if there's going to be a call box, just so the applicant knows, the call box needs to be within the property.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I will keep on mind on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you very much. Okay, thank you, Mr. Martinez. We appreciate your help.
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay,
you.
have a good
Have a
evening.
great day, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
This
Thank
is tabled or with,
No, it's incomplete. We're calling it
incomplete,
incomplete.
got it. Okay,
It's
got
not, we have to wait for more information before we can deal with it, and we'll send a letter of necessary items in order for the application. We don't want to look at it again until we have everything in that we need. We don't want to,
Got it.
spend time on it until it's got the complete set of, information and requirements that we need to make a decision. Okay, next up is Greg and Joan Popkin, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-73-3-1.14, 25 Great Oak Way, East Hampton. Are the applicants present?
Mark Cardone is
Mark.
the agent.
Are you the agent, sir?
Agent.
Yes, Mark Cardone. Yep,
Yes.
I gotcha. All right. So this is my application. This is an application to legalize a fence and gates that are very large size. And the applicant, I'm afraid, has run into some problems with pre-existing covenants and restrictions on this property. The Popkin fence, this is another application that we would consider incomplete. This lot is part of the Northwest Estates subdivision. It's lot number 21, and the background research indicates that the subdivision resolution has covenants and restrictions within it. And it has a number of conditions, among them a requirement that all structures, with the exception of driveways and utilities, be confined to the building envelope. The survey that I have doesn't have a building envelope depicted on it, so we can't tell, although I think it's a pretty good guess that the fence that's depicted on the survey is outside of that envelope, but I have no way of knowing without it there. So this also includes fences. So the fences would have to be positioned on the property within the building envelope. So I think we're not in a position really to go any further with this application at this time until it's a survey with the building envelope is submitted. And apart from which, I think that these gates and fences are, well, they're oversized. They're much too tall. They're really big. So I don't particularly see any reason to put everybody through this unless the board wishes to see what's happening until we get the updated information from the applicant.
Let's get the updated information.
Can I ask any questions or not?
Of course, yes, of course, yes. Please do.
My question is so you're saying that all of the fencing, including the black fencing, everything would have to be inside of the building envelope?
That's correct. As per the covenants and restrictions that went along with this subdivision, I don't have the date of the subdivision, but much of that land up in Settlers Landing there was subdivided with particular covenants and restrictions so that development could be more compatible with the town's character and then, the rural environment that exists. So fences and large gates and things like that are not compatible with that.
Any of the wood fencing I believe, is inside the envelope. The screened fencing, that's typically we put up a 6-foot fence. In this case, we put the 2 cables on top because we were just inundated with the deers. The deers were just all over the place there. So it was to protect the landscaping. That's primarily, we tried to make it as invisible as possible. If you look at the other fencing, it's very invisible. On the sides, we put up the cedar fencing with the assumption, if you look at all the other fencing, it's pretty much invisible. But we did add the 2 cables. If you look at the posts themselves, are 8 feet tall. The screen fencing is 6 feet tall. And we added 2 cables on top because the deers were just unbelievable. I mean, we couldn't, we actually were replanting stuff before we could get it in. You know, it was just unbelievable. So that was our issue. I was not under the understanding that the fencing, I know all structures are inside of our building envelope that we were given. And we've confirmed that, through our surveyor. So all that stuff is inside the envelope. However, the black fencing is not inside that envelope. None of it is.
Okay, well, I appreciate your explanation. Thank you very much for that. But we'll need this to be depicted on the survey to go forward. And I took measurements of these things, that one gate with that arbor on top of it. I don't know if that's, if that is what you're referring to as a pergola, but that's 10 feet tall, and that's
the pergola I have on the permit. I have that's 10 feet tall. All the fencing is 8 feet tall.
Right, and that's too big. That's too tall. We don't.
Catherine,
yes.
Just as a also, the survey also doesn't really depict the existing and proposed conditions of the fence, like the height of the fence and so on. Just as a reminder.
Right. No, thank you. I appreciate you reminding me of that. So what we need from you, Mr. Cardone, is to have the survey depict the building envelope and for the fence. And we will send you a follow-up letter with these details on it so that you can, submit them to your surveyor and review it with your client. We need the fence as proposed and as existing to be depicted on the survey. My guess is you're going to have to remove that deer fencing that's in the woods, but I can't say that until I see the building envelope. So there's no point in,
there's no doubt it's outside the building envelope.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate your telling us that. That's very helpful to know. And that's good to know. But the rest, the other, you're going to have to lower the height of most of this fencing. It just it's not we can't approve it. It's too tall.
So there's no way of getting deer fencing over there that's not permitted to do, because most of the Northwest Woods everyone has deer fencing.
Well, I understand
on that street, Great Oak Way. There were houses that were there. They all have deer fencing.
I understand, and there are situations.
And they're certainly not in their envelope. There are houses that are on a block that the fencing is on the street.
Right, I understand, sir. I understand. But we're not looking at those houses. We're looking at this house, and we are, there are many, many houses, I'm sure, throughout the town that have various code violations, and we can't really discuss those. We can only discuss what you have presented and what you've given us, and this is what we need from you to go forward. So, if there's some special circumstance, I don't see, the only time that I know that the code provides for exemptions to increase the height of a deer fence is if there's an agricultural need for it. People don't necessarily want the deer in their yard, but
I know, but
we can't fence everything off. Say, excuse me?
I'm going back to my client then.
Yes.
And basically telling them that they can drive down the street and see that their neighbors have that, and that they went in to do their house and they can't have that. That's what you're
correct.
saying.
That's correct, because we are not code enforcement. We are the Architectural Review Board. And what you have submitted to us is an application to approve a fence as built. And it doesn't fit the code. It's our legal obligation to follow the code. We are not, I understand the frustration and the position it puts you in to tell your client that they can't do something they can look next door and see, but that is not our purview. We are not in a position to do this, and it's not our it's not part of our obligation to go around to every lot in the community and say this fence is bad and that gate and so on. And believe me, there's part of me that wishes we could, but we can't. That's not our responsibility. So I recognize it puts you in a difficult position, but you need to lower the height of your fence. You need to figure that arbor out a different way. And you need to resubmit with the existing and proposed fencing on the survey and the building envelope on the survey so we can make a proper analysis.
Okay, and so the bottom line is, what is the permitted height? 6 feet?
The permitted height is
Permitted height.
permitted height is 6 feet, but the Architectural Review Board has discretion within that to approve or deny gates or fences that are not within the community character. So if your gates and fences don't fit what the aesthetic is for that neighborhood, then we are in a position to say to you, please lower it or use a different material or make it more transparent, or, we're trying to maintain the rural agrarian environment of our community. And this, the notion of, these walls that are, we're not walling everything off. That's part of what makes our town so beautiful, is people get to look out over these vistas and look at the forest and look at the animals. And I get it. I've had Lyme disease myself. Deer are a problem. There's no question about it. But that's not the, we're not in a position to regulate that. But so we're, I think what you should, pardon?
And there is clear language in the covenants stating that fences, as well as
fences are a structure.
Structures.
Fences are structures.
Needs to be inside of that.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. And this is part of why we rely on our planning professionals to help us to research these things. And it's often the case, and I'm sorry for you because I know it puts you in an awkward position, but sometimes these properties change hands and those conditions are not made known. And it's our obligation to make sure that we consider those as these applications come before us. So I was married to a builder for 23 years. I understand your position. So I don't, I get it, but you're going to have to come back to us with a different, different ideas about the fence.
So just so I'm clear, so I'm fully clear on this. So if we are 6 feet and we are inside the building envelope that was in the covenants, we're good.
Not necessarily. It depends. We're not really giving you advice on the aesthetic of the fence tonight. We're giving you advice on the height of it. We're not giving you advice on the aesthetic because we don't really know what part of the fence is on your property and, with what conforms to the code and what does not, or what conforms to your covenant and restriction and what does not. So I would ask you to, you're not going to be able to excuse me, sir, I'm speaking. We're not going to be able to synthesize it like that for you right now. I understand that's what you want to be able to come back to your client with, but we can't give you that information right now. I don't know, unless the board wants to do this. The idea here is not to spend time on applications that are incomplete, and your application is incomplete. So I would rather that you submit a complete application and then we can give you the feedback you need. I don't think we can shortcut it, as much as I understand your desire to do that. And it may feel more expeditious to walk away from this saying, well, yeah, I can have 6 to the fence, but it's just got to be here. It's not that simple a process right now. Right now, we have to see the building envelope first, and then we can give you advice. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other comments?
No.
Okay. All right. So we'll send you a follow-up letter with this information. And when you resubmit the survey, we'll get you back on the agenda. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cardone. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Next is... Okay, 341 Town Line LLC modification under agricultural overlay, Suffolk County Tax Act number 300-149-5-4, 341 Town Lane, Amagansett, has been postponed at the request of the applicant. Agricultural overlay Cranberry Dune PBSJD LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-189-5-10.5, Lot 4, Further Lane, East Hampton. This is Frank's, and Lori, I think, is Lori here? Lori, this is you.
Wait.
Yeah, Lori Wilshire. Okay, so the applicant is present, and Frank, take it away.
I'm sorry. Did you say 340? Oh, right. Okay.
341 has
Lane
been
was taken
postponed. Yeah,
Okay.
written pulled 341 day or two ago. So we're going right to Cranberry.
Yeah. Okay. Could we pull up the
Yeah, Will, can you?
photographs of the either the existing or proposed, whatever's most readily available. There are photographs of the existing, and then there are renderings of the proposed. So
Could I
while
just
that's
say,
being
Frank, would you mind just reading what the application is
Yes,
for?
exactly.
Thank you.
okay, so this is a lot significantly set back from further lane. The applicant is applying for a renovation in addition to the existing structure. From what I could tell from the plans, it is to the east and to the north and to the west. So I will read the application. It says lower level proposed 3,000, which is the basement level, 3,222 square feet. First floor proposed 849 square foot addition and 372 square foot terrace. Second floor proposed 948 square foot addition and 139 square feet of covered porch. Because we don't have existing existing plans, we only have proposed plans. I'll do my best to walk you through. I was able to figure out what is the addition here. So let's go to the proposed. So renderings were provided of we can walk through this, the elevations. Okay. So it's very difficult to see, and this is a question for the board. I am comfortable reviewing this application based on the architectural drawings from what I can see. If you see on the top line, it says proposed addition. It's very small font, but existing and then proposed addition. So this is the south elevation facing the pool. There is an addition to the west, which is on the left side of that dashed line.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the east, on the opposite side, there is a new terrace and building out in the same language of the existing architecture, a new peaked roof with a terrace.
Mm.
This is probably the best elevation to explain it. And then maybe if we go to the second page, the north elevation, which would be the rear elevation. You can see the backside on the left side of this proposed addition. It's all called out as proposed addition because it's a significant addition to the north. And then it's kind of difficult to make out what is being built to the right. I was able, based on my site visit, and if you compare the renderings provided with the existing site conditions, one can make out what is being proposed. Typically, I did not see any existing floor plans or any existing elevations provided with this application. So I'm not sure if we could proceed with this application. Perhaps this is a question for Kathy. I am comfortable with, given what's provided here in the documentation, particularly with the language of the architecture, the materials that match what has been built, as well as the location of this property, which is significantly set back from any public view, that I am comfortable with this application. But I can understand if other board members would like to see some clarification in terms of existing versus proposed conditions in the architectural plans.
don't think we need to be surgeons to understand something that's in front of us. It should be clearly color coded. I mean, it's great that you understand it, but
Yes.
it should be simple for us
Right.
to understand. It
Right.
should not be, brain surgery. So I would vote that we get better renderings. And where is this lot for? There's no address on Further Lane.
It doesn't have an address. It's very confusing. It's an estate that involves 4 lots and an agricultural reserve, sharing 2 driveways. This is behind 350, which is the main house. They call this the pool house. It's an accessory structure to them, although to us it looks like a house.
So if they've got all that, they can provide better renderings for us to understand this.
They could, but really the fact of the matter is what they're building is going to match what exists. That's really what the board needs to consider.
Well, notwithstanding,
the board is saying that they need better rendering, so
it's very difficult. It's very difficult based on the information provided. Typically, we are given existing plans, proposed plans, existing elevation, proposed plans. This just calls out. It's very difficult to make out from here what is actually existing.
Mm-hmm.
One can go to the site and one can say, I understand now what is happening, but for documentation purposes, as well as for the board members to understand this, it has to be presented in a format that people can understand by reviewing the documents and not going to the site.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you, Frank, for your your careful analysis. And I think Chip brings up a good point. Frank is an architect by training. He's a professional, so it's easier for him to see these things. But for those of us that are not, and Lori, I know you can understand this, just for the file, for the history of this thing, we just want it to be clearer. That's one of the things we're really trying to do, is just make, tighten things up a little bit and make it so that it's easier. I think that, in my perspective of this, from what I can tell at this point, I think it's going to be fine, but I can't, I think everybody would benefit from what Frank has described, which is to, draw the existing and proposed on the plan.
Existing elevations.
Yeah, on the elevation.
Elevations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also on the plans, if perhaps the architect can draw some sort of differentiate with some sort of a line, what is existing, what is new, where is the addition happening. On the floor plans, it's really difficult to make out where that is happening. Again, I don't have any objections to the architecture being built here. I think it's clearly in conformance with what's already been built. It's just simply the documentations that's being provided. I'll also note on the application, when we're talking about what's not complete, we do need so under the second page, A, street house number and hamlet, we need the number of Further Lane, the street number.
There isn't one. The assessor's records don't even have one.
Okay. Well, if you could just anecdotally put on the plan somewhere what you just described to us, that it's behind 350, that would give people a chance to go by and take a look without having to, go crazy finding the thing.
Right. And there is a caretaker and a gate and a phone number and all that. So you make sure that you have that if you're going out there.
Yeah.
Can you also... Yes, Kathy.
Now, I was just going to ask, was there a pool house that is going to be moved, relocated?
This is the pool house.
This is a pool house.
No, on the survey, it's a greenhouse.
A greenhouse. That's what it was. A greenhouse. That's what I was meaning to ask.
It's being moved off this property.
Okay, so can you just indicate that on the plans too? Because it said removed and relocated, but we didn't know if it was going to be relocated on the property or if it was
good point.
Together, right? So
where does it say that? I'm looking.
It's on the top, on the survey, sort of top center.
I'll find it. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I mean, I think you just have to trim that up. And Frank, did you have any other suggestions?
I was going to add on page 2 of the application, description of proposed improvements of change. The second floor, it does not call out existing square foot. It's worded in such a way to say there's only basically a new second floor going in.
Mm-hmm.
So it says proposed addition, proposed screen porch, but it doesn't say how much existing. So just a little clarification on existing and proposed. And then it would help to add in that description of the changes, relocation or perhaps removal of existing greenhouse. So add that.
Okay, so just let me, existing elevations, differentiate new from old. No house number, explain where this is in relationship to the main house.
And
where is indicate where the greenhouse is going. And on page 2, indicate the square footage of the existing second floor.
I mean, we don't care where the greenhouse is going once it leaves the site, but we just wanted to know if it was going elsewhere on the site.
Yep.
Part of the scope.
No.
Yeah. And was there, did you want existing and proposed on the plans too? Frank, didn't you say that?
I'm happy to discuss this with the applicant, the specifics of it, if that's permitted, after this meeting. But if the architect has existing elevations, I would suggest submitting those, even though it seems like a lot of documentation, more is better.
Great.
So just submit existing elevations, existing plans.
Yep.
Okay.
Because I would also say if this, I can't speak for the building department, but if this is going to the building, if we're asking this, the building department is going to say.
Need it too. That's right. You know, and Frank, on our follow-up letter, we're going to involve the committee person on the follow-up letter. So you can have a look at that before we send it to Lori about what needs to be. So we'll have another list for you, Lori, too, to compare,
Thanks.
what you need.
That's great. And the phone number's on the application, as is our email address. So please feel free to reach out if you think of
We will do it.
Great.
I do have one more thing on the elevations.
Yep.
Exterior lighting is not indicated. So, because that's always an issue with dark skies compliance. So we would want to see that on the proposed elevations, all like exterior sconces.
Yep.
And if they're going to be exterior sconces, submit a cut sheet or indicate what that fixture is.
Right.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Just very quickly. So the total proposed is what square footage? Is that stated on the application? I'm just trying to do the math, but it's like 2,000 plus square feet. Is that, or not including the lower level, let's say? Does it say?
Not it calls out proposed square footage of the first floor of 849 square feet.
Right. I wrote it all down, but I mean, I can add it all up, but I just wondered if it had.
Right.
What is the existing?
We're missing existing second floor, so I can't do that math.
Okay. All right. So
we'll have to do that as well.
That would be
okay. That'd be helpful
to get a sense of the scale of this, not having been there and only judging from a photograph.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Sorry, Diane.
And I would love to see the relationship to where I mean, significantly back from further lane, but this is, in other vernacular, this is like another complete house. So
yeah,
it's not visible from anywhere except from the residents of this property.
Right, but sort of the relationship of all the structures there would be
right. I think
it is.
Point. Yes,
it is. From what I can, it is visible from the east neighbor. I mean, I'm not sure if we can count screening or not, but even without the screening, it seemed to me that this was visible from the person, whoever is the resident on the eastern side of this lot.
Okay, well, that's important to know.
And just also one last thing. I mean, you mentioned there was an ag reserve or something about that. Is there any, from the planning perspective, is there anything that we need to know regarding this or that we need from the applicant?
You mean like covenants and restrictions from
anything like that? Yeah.
I don't.
They're all part of the planning board file.
Yeah. Well, did you? But we've been asking for comments from our planning department. So I don't know. Will, do you have a comment on this?
No, as far as we can tell, it all looks.
Yeah, there's no problems with past approvals or covenants and restrictions and so forth.
Okay.
Just our typical rules of massing and appearance and so forth. So,
Thank you.
okay. All right, Lori, do you need anything else from us?
No, I've got this and I'll wait for your memo and then I'll advise my clients.
Perfect. All right, terrific. Thanks very much. You have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thanks, everybody. All right, next up, we are into certificates of occupancy. And the first one is Amanda Iacono and James Gisa, or Gessa, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-159-1-9, 104 Long Lane, East Hampton. Esperanza, this is yours.
Yes. This is a structure on Long Lane, a residence that is finished at this point. And if we can pull up the photographs, so we could just quickly look through them. It really, I made the comparison with the plans and substantially conforms to what was in the resolution and the approval from, I believe it was December of 2020.
December 10th, yeah.
Yeah. There were just a few minor changes. For instance, what was originally proposed was a front porch and a back porch. And due to financial restrictions or constraints, given the pandemic, really, the back porch, as you see in this photograph, was not constructed. So what we would need from the applicant or from the architect is we would need as-built elevations indicating the changes that were made that weren't not part of the original resolution. And also, we would need some updated specs on the lighting fixtures that were ultimately selected, and just to ensure that those are all dark sky compliant as well. So I believe this is another situation of incomplete, but easily resolvable, I think, with the architect and the applicant.
Okay. I don't know, David, do you have anything you want to add to this? I mean, I think this is pretty cut and dried, right? We can't approve this CO with until we get the as-built survey.
Yeah, we need the plans that reflect what's actually built, so we can refer to it in the documentation for the CO.
Okay. Okay, great. So we'll postpone this then.
Esperanza, if I may ask, do you think that in your site visit, did you think that the sconces next to the front door were dark sky compliant?
I don't believe they are. I did mention this to Amanda Iacono, the applicant. And the original approved sconces by the doors don't seem like they were dark sky compliant, so we're a little bit of a bind. But I think given that they changed several light fixtures, I think we have an opportunity here to make sure that they are dark sky compliant. She indicated to me that they're on dimmers, which obviously does not make a difference as far as dark sky compliance is concerned, really.
Okay, well, it will include a request for cut sheets for the lighting, and that they have to be dark sky compliant in our follow-up letter to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and hopefully it's just a question of, putting like one of those shields or something on it. Like
they can make an easy adjustment, but
yes.
We'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything on this?
No.
Okay. All right. So we're going to postpone that, and we'll send a letter explaining, and then hopefully get them back on soon. So then the next application is Leah Carr, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-159-1-18.27, 10 Fieldview Lane, East Hampton. And Diane, this is yours.
Yes. This was an approval for fencing on a very nice house on Field View. I thought we had already approved a C of O, but I guess we hadn't approved the fencing. It backs up exactly to the Buckley's commercial greenhouses. And it is 104 feet in length, the fence, and it's 8 feet high. It is completely encased by cryptomeria and other hedgerow. It's been in place intact for some time. I took another picture. We've had pictures of it again and again. I suppose what we've approved before was the house itself. But I have no objection whatsoever. I mean, it's a very mature property. This is the side yard, and there's another photo of the back. So it's
We're approving a deer fence in the hedging. Is that what we're approving?
Yes. We're approving an 8-foot deer fence in a
evergreen hedge. Got it.
And but it's a very tall. It's the far, not this hedge that we're looking at. This is the far hedge is the hedge that we're. That is the question at the C of O. Not this side yard fence, but it's the back fence. I'd say the cryptomeria are I don't know, 30 feet or more. I mean,
so you can't really see the fence. You can't really see the fence because of the plantings.
It's completely enclosed.
Okay. Now,
and there's no sensitivity on the agricultural overlay because it's a very commercial, the very commercial part of the Buckley's greenhouses.
Right.
The wholesale Buckley's.
Okay.
So, and unless anybody else has any questions, I would make a motion that staff please contact the building department that this is ready for a C of O.
Does anybody have any other questions about this application?
Nope.
So we can accept Diane's motion then to instruct staff that this is ready for C of O. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, so we're passed and carried. Okay, well, this is the fastest meeting I've ever had in my 10 years of service to the town. I've never been done with anything so quickly. So I hope this is a sign of things to come, and thank everyone for their hard work. I really want to thank the planning department for stepping in here and really smoothing the way for us on these covenants and restrictions. Is very helpful. To have the expertise at our disposal. So thank you, Eric and Will and Julie, and thanks, David. I appreciate everyone. I'll take a motion to close then. We can go have dinner. What an idea.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Yeah, I know. It's not even 5. Okay, meeting's closed. We'll see you on February 24th. Thanks very much, everyone. Good night.